sitting there now, well, they are standing now, holding their arms up. More and more people are holding their arms up, and the line of police officers facing the frontage road where we are has stayed, and now there is more smoke, and the group is dispersing. That smoke is growing a little bit thicker and thicker. That group is now very much so dispersing. We have now heard just a couple of bangs. I am not sure what that was. But again, and we just saw a flare. It looked like there were fireworks, it would appear, of some sort. As of right now, the entire group is now leaving the southbound lane of I-35. They are running down that ramp. They are forming another, well, the group is continuing to grow because they're running down the southbound lanes. People are running across the bridge now as well to retreat that smoke that you see there.
Luis, that's a lot of smoke. I know you were out there yesterday when people were throwing fireworks at police officers and firefighters, but the smoke dissipates really quickly when it's a firework, but that is a lot of smoke.
Good evening, I'm Kayla Norwood, back out here live near the APD headquarters. What we're seeing, a new scene here, you can see these flames behind me. I'm going to get right to it here so you guys can see it. A car is now on fire under the I-35 bridge. I mean, just look at that smoke that is billowing up all the way along the I-35 bridge here. People have quickly left the area for their safety. Not sure right now how that car got on fire, who started it, what led to this situation, but as you can hear behind me, we excuse some of the language that you're hearing, but people are angry, people are upset. They say enough is enough. They are tired of what they're seeing between police officers around the country and people of color. So things have escalated a little bit here. Not sure again how this car got on fire, but it is clearly completely engulfed in flames. And let's also mention here that we have police officers. Let's turn the camera here, Jackson. You can see officers, they are readjusting their location here, walking along this near I-35 along the APD headquarters. They are moving. Fire department has just arrived on scene to put this fire out. You can also see that there are protesters who are clearly throwing water bottles at officers. Officers are pepper spraying. Can you see that in the air? Jackson, I'm not sure if you can zoom in there, but officers did pepper spray folks to disperse the area and make people move here. But we just want to show you here, give you a better look at what's happening. Things are quickly shifting. Jackson, Jackson. Let's back up a little bit. Clearly that pepper spray is a little bit strong from when that officer just sprayed that out earlier. And so yeah, you can see that there's a fire department or a fire truck that's now on scene here trying to put out that fire that it sparked at this protest. This protest for George Floyd in Minneapolis. You remember that pepper spray. That pepper spray is a little strong here, so excuse me. But George Floyd, you'll remember the officer who had his knee on his neck, and anyone who's seen the video has seen what has happened. He did die as a result, and right now people are frustrated with all that is going on. Again, we also have what is taking place in the Austin community that has added to some unrest here tonight. Is that, well, they're also talking about what happened to Michael Ramos not too long ago here in the Austin area, who was killed by police. And as we're still getting those clear pictures for you guys, Zach Jackson, I believe, is zooming in to let you see that fire. Again, firefighters are on scene. So this situation is continuing to develop as we've been out here during these evening hours, from back and forth between officers. There's clearly there's a man right here. Oh, can we get that, Jackson? Not sure why that man was pushed down. He appeared to be on a bicycle. Oh, he's being dragged by an officer right now. He is currently being dragged on the ground. Officers are ready and surrounding the man. He was pepper sprayed before that. You can see the canister still in the officer's hand. Not sure why this is currently happening. He seems to be, the man on the ground appears to be disoriented, trying to figure out what's going on, what just happened, but officers have quickly surrounded that area and now are keeping a close eye on protesters as people are upset about what just happened, what they're seeing, what happened, why the man was dragged on the ground here, and more officers appear to be coming to the area to check and see what's going on. And the guy appeared to be on a bike at the time, going past the area where, just in front of the area where this car has been on fire with the fire truck next to it.
Oh, here we go. Is this a live look, Lauren? Is this a live picture? Certainly is. Live picture of 6th Street, of that store that Bryce Newberry was just telling us, a closed boutique store, and protesters breaking in and taking what they can, according to Bryce Newberry, who witnessed this, by the way, broke in and took what they could, and now that this is what is left. Certainly disappointing scene here. And of course, no officers, Bryce says, are in sight to take care of this. They are elsewhere. They're on 8th Street. They're on the overpass, trying to prevent demonstrators from overflowing and stopping traffic there. Let's see what they do.
I'm Luis De Leon, live on 6th Street tonight. I'm near the corner of Red River and 6th Street, where you can see it is a much different scene than last night. But of course, we are talking about this at 10:08 p.m. right now. You can see traffic is flowing here. I actually happen to see a couple of police officers, what appeared to be police officers, moving across the street in a vehicle, or moving down the street rather, in a vehicle. We also are outside of the private stock premium boutique, where unfortunately it was broken into last night. We are hoping to speak to an employee of this boutique later in our newscast. Now, while we've had crews in all sorts of spots throughout this event this entire weekend, talking to those people that just want to have their voices heard. So we wanted to break down how the events went, starting from Friday night into where we are now. We knew a protest would take place Saturday, but everything started late Friday night when a crowd unexpectedly showed up to the APD headquarters. Events there lasted late into the night, into the early morning hours, a potential preview of what Saturday would bring. We were out in front of the headquarters at around 8:30 Saturday morning, where workers boarded up the windows on the first floor. It was around 11:30 when protesters started showing up, and by the early afternoon, the crowd grew. Protesters took to the I-35 bridge, blocking the southbound lanes, making sure they get their message across. While the crowd stayed large in front of the headquarters, it eventually spread to places like City Hall and then the Capitol. Saturday night is when things continued to get heated. With a few fires set, there were also more confrontations with police, and a few stores on 6th Street broken into. Sunday morning started peaceful, with a huge crowd outside of the Capitol and at one point on their knees as speeches were given. Just after 1 o'clock, the crowd marched down Congress Avenue towards City Hall. Some of the buildings along the street sprayed up with graffiti from the day before. At City Hall, that's where things started to take a turn as tension continued to build back up, and by then the large crowd split up. Some went to the Capitol and some went back to I-35, where mid-Sunday afternoon the bridge was blocked again. Again, with the crowd split by around 5 o'clock, a majority of the people were back at the Capitol. And the people that I spoke to throughout this weekend, they all just want their voices heard. That's what they've been telling me, or something along those lines, just as we're seeing in many other cities across the country. And now, as for the confrontations between protesters and police today, I mentioned this over the phone earlier in our coverage on this event throughout this weekend, and today seemed a little bit more inconsistent than Saturday. Saturday we saw a lot more consistency and constant confrontation. Today we saw a little bit less of that. It was a little bit quieter at those front lines. There were still some confrontations, but like I said, so many people just trying to make their voices heard this weekend. We're live in downtown Austin tonight. I'm Luis De Leon, KVUE News.